Parkside Cabin Rentals, affordable rustic luxury in the Smokies. Chalets and log cabins, from intimate to grand. In town or in total seclusion, we can fit any need you have. Visit ParksideCabinRentals.com. Plan your vacation today.
Southeast Termite and Pest Control can help protect your home from animals, trapping and relocating wildlife, fixing the damage they cause, and preventing them from invading your home in the first place. Call Southeast Termite and Pest Control and ask about our many services.
The following is a presentation of Fox 43 Sports. Let's talk Tennessee football. This is the Sports Source Kickoff, presented by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Now, your host, John Pennington.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Parkside Cabin Rentals. We have a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to be talking all about recruiting. Early signing period's coming up. This is our last show of the year here on Fox 43. So that's our focus. And we got two great recruiting gurus here to discuss recruiting with me, a non-guru who'll just be throwing to them. Let's get right into it. First segment of this program brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Thanks to these folks for being our lead sponsor all season. If you're looking for a one-of-a-kind, do-it-yourself trip to the Gatlinburg area and the Smokies, turn to Parkside Cabin Rentals. Dozens of cabins of all sizes. I mean, from cozy for couples to big enough for families or even office staffs if you've got some sort of a retreat. Plus free parking when you go into Gatlinburg. You've got a terrific setup there. Parkside Cabin Rentals, and you can check them out, parksidecabinrentals.com. All right. Want to welcome in the recruiting guys that I alluded to earlier. We have Josh Ward, who covers recruiting for WNML, the sports animal. And right there, Ryan Callahan, who covers recruiting for GoVols247.com. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I asked you to give me the locks, and you said, oh, yeah, these are button-down, hard-boiled locks. What we're going to do for you today is we're going to break down locks in quotation, because these things aren't locked until somebody signs a piece of paper, and that can always change. But for the lack of another word, we just went with locks to say these are the commits that Tennessee is probably most likely going to sign between December 19th and 21st during that early signing period. Then in the next couple of segments, we're going to introduce you to 9 more possible Tennessee targets, and these guys are going to break down for you whether or not they are good shots for Tennessee or long shots for Tennessee. Let's start out by taking a look over at the big board, and we have it all prepared. All right, I'm not even going to start with the first name. I'll let you guys tackle that, but let's quickly walk through these guys and specifically out of this class. And let's touch on each of these guys just very quickly. Who they are, where they're from, 4-star, 5-star, that kind of thing. I'll let you guys just kind of trade back and forth or take it any way you like. Okay.
Well, we'll start with one, and this kind of plays to your point about locks. This shows you how fluid this can be. Chris Apirogane, 3-star offensive lineman. He's at IMG Academy in Florida, but he played at the Kings Academy just last year. So a guy with local ties, still knows a lot of people in the area, and he's taking an official visit to Michigan this weekend. So definitely one that's not over yet, but I think he's still solid with Tennessee. So one of 4 offensive line commitments in this class for Tennessee. He's an early enrollee, and Tennessee likes what they've seen from him. They had him at camp this summer, but they're going to have to fight for him a little bit, at least down the stretch.
Was that a surprise?
A little bit. He had not ruled out official visits to other schools when I spoke with him a few days ago. Michigan and Texas, he mentioned, were 2 that were talking to him a lot. We'll see. And he's got another visit open for next weekend. So does he visit Texas or somewhere else even with that visit? It may not be a major threat to Tennessee, but it's at least something you got to keep an eye on if he does take those visits.
So it's good that he was first on the alphabetical list, because it's a good example of how fluid this thing is. Let's go back to the board, and Josh, I'll let you take it up from there.
Yeah, Sean Brown tied in one of the first early commitments in the 2019 class for Tennessee, and this was an early example of across the board. I think Tennessee staff saying we need to get bigger up front, and that's on the offensive line, the defensive line, and adding tight end. So he's one of a couple of guys that you can already see there on the board. But one that would be added to with Jackson Lowe. But with Sean Brown, he's a guy that can come in and help with a position where they've tried to add depth. They brought in a JUCO guy that could come in and help in Dominic Wood Anderson. They're trying to build for the future, though, at that position. Sean Brown, one of the starting points there.
Okay. Ryan, who's next? Warren Burrell. And we can give more of a thumbnail sketch on some of these guys unless there's a late-breaking development.
Yeah.
Warren Burrell next up on the board if we get a shot of that.
All right. Burrell, he seems to be solid, so no real drama there, but a 3-star cornerback from the Atlanta area, North Gwinnett High School. Someone Tennessee beat out Florida and NC State for this summer. A nice pickup. 1 of 2 cornerbacks in this class, and a guy they expect another potential early enrollee who could be on campus in January and help right away.
All right, Tyus Fields, Josh.
Yeah, similar situation, a guy that could help right away, be on campus here in about a month, and that's a guy that Tennessee will give a chance to with 2 freshmen helping this year. They need more depth. Markwell Osborne moving on.
Yeah.
Fields will have a chance coming in the spring to earn playing time in the fall.
And Osborne announcing on Friday that he will be transferring away from Tennessee. Let's take a look at that next 4 on the board, if we could. Anthony Harris, Roman Harrison, Ramel Keaton, and Jackson Lampley. All right, which of those guys stand out in terms of are there any question marks around those 4 in your opinion?
I don't think so. I think all four of those guys are solid. Anthony Harris is interesting because there were some questions of academic concerns maybe 6 months ago or so. Those seem to have faded a little bit lately. I think he's okay. If there was any guy among those 4 who wouldn't sign during the early signing period, it maybe would be him, but he's solid with Tennessee. Harris and Keaton, those are guys who might be early contributors for Tennessee, assuming everything checks out okay academically. But Harris, a really athletic safety, and Keaton, a big-bodied wide receiver who was really productive in high school.
Now, is Keaton the one that's he's teammates with the 2020 quarterback commitment Tennessee just got, correct?
Harrison Bailey and several other talented guys that Tennessee's recruiting.
Would like to get.
Yeah, so they're hoping that's the start of a pipeline at Marietta High.
All right. Next up, let's look at these next 4, Josh. Jackson Lowe, Brian Moore, the quarterback in this class, Jalen McCulloch, and Daryl Middleton. All right. Who stands out?
Well, I'll start with McCulloch because he's a guy that could come in and help right away in the secondary as well. One of the top athletes in the class, one of the highest rated players in the class out of Georgia, and he was a guy that he could probably sign at just about any school and have a chance to compete right away anywhere in the SEC. So they're in the secondary. And then Brian Maurer, I would say, well, there's your quarterback in this class coming in. And I don't know what his impact is right away, but he might have a chance to compete for that backup spot to Jared Garantano because you have Will McBride moving on. And then JT Shrout has not played yet at Tennessee.
On Maurer, let's talk about him just for a second. In terms of who all was in on him, Tennessee kind of spotted him early, I think, but were there other major SEC schools after him, or should we be concerned that there aren't? Were there?
So he's in Ocala, Florida, not too far down the road from Florida, and Florida did not offer him. So take that for what it's worth. But at the same time, Ohio State offered him right before Tennessee landed him. Ohio State had two irons in the fire, sort of. They had another guy committed to Michigan State that they ended up flipping, and then Maurer ends up kind of being left with Tennessee. But Central Florida, and West Virginia were probably the other 2 main teams in on him besides Ohio State. So, I mean, solid competition, but he's a guy whose stock rose in the spring on the camp circuit. He went to the opening finals, and our analysts at 24/7 Sports ranked him 5th among the quarterbacks at the Elite 11 finals. So his stock has risen, and I think he's got a chance to be a good quarterback in the future.
All right, let's take a look at the last 2. We got 2 names that people are very familiar with around here, especially Wanya Morris. He's kind of been the ringleader of the guys you've got. He's about as locked can be, isn't he?
He is, and that's maybe despite the fact that he's a 5-star. Usually you have to fight for those guys all the way to the finish. If you'd asked me in May, is he going to be an easy guy for Tennessee to not have to worry about down the stretch, I would have said no. I would have said Auburn, Clemson, some of these other teams that have been in on him would still be pushing and might get a late visit, that Tennessee would at least have to weather the storm. But so far he's been really loyal to Tennessee, and even though a couple of his teammates, Owen Papo and Kenyatta Watson, at least have looked around down the stretch, he's been solid.
We'll be talking about those 2 a little later when we ask you to put them in the good shots or long shots categories. Josh, Savion Williams.
Yeah, I would say both of those guys at the end. When we're looking at 2 linemen, you need them to help right away. Savion Williams as well. Coming in the summer, it's going to be a quick turnaround for him to be ready to go in fall because you have to replace your starting defensive line, plus guys like Paul Bain, who has really helped and played a lot. 4 seniors who played in 2018 moving on, so you need those JUCO guys. I kind of skipped over Darrell Middleton in the previous grouping, but same for him. He's a JUCO guy that really needs to help right away. That's why they're signing JUCO defensive linemen.
Do they have, and we've talked about this the back half, well, we've talked about it all football season as soon as we got to look at the offensive line this year, that they need linemen. I'm a big fan of signing more linemen than you might need this year just to play the odds. That includes signing defensive linemen because defensive linemen, of course, can be moved to the offensive line. You get an offensive lineman and he doesn't work out, you're just stuck with a wide body sitting on the bench. When you look across that list, 3 offensive linemen in the lock category, again, we use that term loosely, 3 defensive linemen there. Is that enough?
They still need a little more help there, and they're still looking for more help. Yeah. They want.
I know we're going to cover some guys a little later, but
they would like 5 offensive linemen, and I think they would like at least 1 more defensive lineman to go along with what they have. And still, will all those guys on the defensive line sign with them? There's still some questions about at least one of those guys. So we'll see if Tennessee holds on to them. But they still are adding there and are trying to add down the stretch.
Yeah, that's why I would say it's a clear no, because Tennessee's coaching staff is recruiting as if it hasn't done enough yet. And I think Tennessee staff really likes what it has so far up front. But those names that are out there, they're out there for a reason, because Tennessee staff is recruiting very hard to add more linemen.
If you don't win in the trenches in the SEC, you're going to have a hard time winning overall. I mean, you look at Tennessee, when you look at their offense, you see there's some talent there. You know, we talk about 4- and 5-star guys that were still on this roster this year, but you didn't see them. Part of that on offense is because if you don't have an offensive line, it's real hard to show off anything else. So very important for offensive line, defensive line. I'll be interested to see how many guys they wind up with. When we come back, we're going to talk to these 2 guys, and we got 9 more names on the board. And one by one, they're going to tell us if these 9 players that Tennessee is targeting heavily right now, if they are good shots to wind up in Knoxville or long shots to sign in the early period. We'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source Kickoff presented by Parkside Cabin Rentals.
Did you know English Mountain Spring Water has been named the world's best tasting water? That a French competition declared it a gourmet water? Did you know English Mountain Spring Water is bottled in Dandridge? And it's available for commercial and residential water service across East Tennessee. Clear, pure water with no aftertaste. From an East Tennessee source and a local company providing unmatched service. English Mountain Spring Water.
The Lodge at 5 Oaks, conveniently located within walking distance to some of the area's best attractions, restaurants, and shops. Call now for special rates throughout the week or visit thelodgeat5oaks.com to plan your next getaway today.
Since 1971, Southeast Termite and Pest Control has offered free inspections, multiple pest control options, and guaranteed termite prevention and correction. Times have changed. Our service hasn't. Southeast Termite and Pest Control.
Under Tennessee law, you're entitled to money damages for injuries caused by the negligence of others. How much money often depends on the diligence, skill, and experience of your attorney. A Knoxville law firm has been helping injured people for more than 30 years.
At Bill Hodson Associates, we've collected millions of dollars from insurance companies that didn't want to treat injured people fairly. Is your case worth more than the insurance company says? Call Bill Hodson Associates and find out.
When it comes to your business, no one provides better security and life safety systems than Safety Systems. Protect your employees, your products, and your records with a single phone call. Professional technicians ready to design, install, and monitor your cutting-edge fire and security systems. Electric locks and surveillance cameras. Emergency and after-hours response and repairs. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and life safety systems.
Just 60 miles from Knoxville, adventure meets sanctuary at the historic Topoco Lodge. Originally opened in 1930, this renovated, reborn mountain retreat offers cozy, well-appointed rooms, cabins, and suites, waterfront dining, our warm signature service, and plenty of outdoor sports and activities, all within our riverside, creekside, and forest setting. Experience the historic Topoco Lodge, where adventure meets sanctuary.
Parkside Cabin Rentals, affordable rustic luxury in the Smokies. Hot tubs, pool tables, fireplaces inside and out. Our cabins are perfect for relaxing or entertaining. Visit ParksideCabinRentals.com. Plan your vacation today.
Welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff. This segment presented by English Mountain Spring Water, available for commercial and residential service. This water, which comes straight from a Dandridge spring. Let's take a look at this delicious, clean, crystal clear water. I've been there. I've seen this spring. It's really remarkable. It comes from 2,500 feet down in the earth. And you can get it delivered right to your home or office. English Mountain Spring Water employees, they do the work. They bring it to you. They take the jug out. They put the jugs in. They deliver it to my home. You just get the purest water in the world right in your own home or office. And I'm telling you, your employees will love you for it. English Mountain Spring Water. Check out their website to learn more. All right. We are back, and by we, I mean me over here. Over at the big board, we have Josh Ward and Ryan Callahan. And gentlemen, we are going to talk about 9 different, maybe 10 different if we have time. There's somebody who just wrote in Glad I had the extra. We're going to talk about 9 guys, and I want to know if these guys factor in as what you would call good shots for UT, which go on the yellow side, or long shots for UT, which go on the red side. And we start with Justin Aboybe.
Yes.
That's the pronunciation. I love the fact that these guys just don't have easy pronunciations.
That is. Now, so this is the guy, 4-star defensive lineman in Georgia. His stock has risen even since he committed to Alabama in June, but committed to Alabama, so you're going to have a hard time pulling him away, obviously. And Tennessee's battled here. They got him on campus last month. If there's a dark horse in this one, it could be Tennessee. He's visiting Miami this weekend, though, not taking an official visit to Tennessee as of right now. Unless that changes, I think you've got to put him in the long shots for Tennessee category. But if there's a dark horse here that maybe Tennessee could steal, I'd maybe keep an eye on this name just in case something changes.
So he's the best chance of the long shots.
Of the long shots,
okay.
he's a reasonable one.
All right. Way to play Vanna White over there, Josh Ward. We don't have Cavaleris here tonight, so you're going to have to handle it. All right, next up, Nick Figueroa.
Yeah, Tennessee needs defensive line help, right? So here's a junior college defensive line guy that Tennessee has offered and has continued to recruit. Now, I think there's some guys that would be higher on Tennessee's board if you would look at prospects that Tennessee would go after, but somebody that is available. Boygby is a guy that's committed. Some other guys, Tennessee's gone after some Georgia commitments on the defensive line, harder to pull away. Figueroa would be easier to land, I would say, just because of his availability.
He's a West Coast guy, so UCLA and USC are both threats. USC recently offered, so Tennessee's got to get a visit here first, but if they get a visit next weekend, there's a shot there. So you definitely put him in the realistic, but maybe more long shots category at this point.
The if that Ryan added to the visit, that's to me what makes him a long shot to land. I would say more available or more capable of pulling him away than somebody like Boygby, but still a long shot.
And does he maybe take the visit because he's seen West Coast schools, because he hasn't seen an SEC school? That possibility's out there. So if you get him on campus, maybe it becomes more realistic.
All right, so I've only got room for 6 long shots, guys. So we may be looking at piling them on top of one another. That's not going to be a good look.
We'll shoehorn one in there.
Was this and I'll throw this to you a little bit off the plan here very quickly, 30 seconds. This wasn't a great week for Tennessee on the recruiting front, was it?
It was not a great one so far.
And we'll get into specifics of people in a minute, but not a great week overall for momentum.
There have been a couple of committed guys, committed to other schools that Tennessee's been after that they looked like they had some momentum with. Just this past week, they've gotten some more negative indications. Now, again, you still got another week on the road. Jeremy Pruitt has some important in-home visits left, but there's definitely a chance for Tennessee still to change their minds and get those guys to visit or take another look at Tennessee here at the last minute.
Yeah, and that's the challenge of going after so many committed players. You're trying to pull them away from a school that they've been so strongly connected to for several months in a lot of these cases.
All right, next guy up, Eric Gray from Memphis. Was committed to Michigan, but that changed. A lot of people have been having their eyes on him.
Yeah, and even before he decommitted from Michigan, it looked like Tennessee had a real shot at him. He decommitted from Michigan, and maybe the timing's coincidence, but on the same day he arrived at Tennessee for another unofficial visit. So he's been at Tennessee 4 times since September. Tennessee's been the team training with him for a while. I think of all the guys we've discussed, this is probably their best shot of landing someone who will sign for sure during this early signing period because he's an early enrollee. So it might not be the most action-packed first day of the early signing period, depending on how things go, but I think you'd have to like Tennessee's chances right now of landing Eric Gray out of Memphis as a nice in-state pickup if they can get him, and obviously would fill a major need because they still don't have a running back in this class.
Okay. And number one competition, probably Ole Miss or Alabama if they decide to get involved?
Has been perceived as Ole Miss, but are they really the main threat here? I think Alabama has kind of been laying in the weeds a little bit. If they decide to push because they miss out on another running back, maybe they become more of a threat. So realistically, Alabama is probably the bigger threat to Tennessee right now.
It must be nice to be Alabama and know that, well, if we don't get one, we'll just pluck someone from another guy's basket. Let's go to next, Tresman Marshall.
Here is a linebacker I think is very important. It's a position Tennessee's staff knows it needs to upgrade, needs to add speed, athleticism. Marshall's a guy who took an official visit to Tennessee in the summer, came back for an unofficial several weeks ago, has a former teammate in high school, John Mincy, who had a nice freshman season on the defensive line, and his connection to Tennessee I think gives Tennessee a chance with Tresman Marshall. So he's committed to Georgia. It's not going to be easy for Tennessee, but long shot or good shot, I think Tennessee has a good shot at pulling him away, especially among the committed players. So I'm going to put him on the good shot side.
I think that's fair. And he's one that if you maybe had to break down the percentages, probably not as high a percentage chance as with Eric Gray. And Georgia still has an official visit left with him, so that's tough. Maybe they get the last visit and sway him back. But right now he's at least torn and has been to Tennessee 4 times this year, so I think you give them a real shot.
All right, next one up, E.J. Ndoma Ogar. Did I get that one right?
You did. You did.
Okay.
And so this is one that's tricky because right now he's planning to sign during the early signing period, so that's why we're including him in this discussion. But there's a chance he still could wait until February, and Tennessee's best shot might be if he waits until February to sign. So Tennessee's still battling here. They've gotten him on campus on official visit already. The door's cracked open for Tennessee to have a shot here down the stretch, but their best chance might be to get him to wait until February. So I think Tennessee probably would be considered a long shot for him right now if he signs in the early period. So here's one where if he signs now, you don't like Tennessee's chances, you want him to wait if you're Tennessee.
Yeah, and John, if you're looking for some space on this board, maybe if he could be taken off the board, as Ryan's talking about, if he is not an early signee, that would be what helps Tennessee.
Okay, very good. Let's do one more in this segment. And this is part of the reason it turned into a bad week. Owen Pappoe, or Pappoe, I'm not sure how he pronounces it.
Pappoe, yeah.
Okay, we'll go Pappoe. What do we got here? This went from what I think a lot of people had hoped would be a good shot. Looks like a long shot now.
Yeah, that's part of the issue. And as you would probably expect, we do week-long planning for this show. So in the middle of the week, we're putting up the board. I would have had him on the good shot category. So a few days later, that's changed. So with the visit from Auburn's coaches and him tweeting out, I'm reaffirming my commitment 100% to Auburn. And now it's probably a long shot to get him to visit Knoxville, let alone sign. I think he has to be a long shot to Tennessee, which is really disappointing, him being a teammate of Wanya Morris and has had really sincere interest in Tennessee when Butch Jones was the head coach and with Jeremy Pruitt as the head coach. To maybe shut it down 2 weeks before signing day is really disappointing for Tennessee.
Yeah, now the one thing you'd maybe say in Tennessee's favor, it was right after an in-home visit with Gus Malzahn. So Jeremy Pruitt still has his in-home visit. This was trending toward Tennessee, it looked like at one point. Does maybe that in-home with Jeremy Pruitt next week convince him to take a final visit to Tennessee next weekend? It looks unlikely right now, but there's still that sliver of hope that maybe Tennessee can change his mind with Jeremy Pruitt still having that last shot.
Yeah, but this is why I put Tresman Marshall as somebody that's really important for Tennessee as well.
All right, so Owen Pappoe now goes into the long shot list. Auburn took practically their whole defensive staff down there to see him, did they not?
They took, well, it was two guys, but it was
I thought it was multiple guys.
It was Gus Malzahn and Travis Williams, their linebackers coach, who has the closest relationship with Pappoe of probably anyone recruiting him, so that was a big deal.
All right, good job, guys. We have 3 more names, maybe 4 if we have time for it, for a guy that we just wrote in, or that they just wrote in. We'll discuss that when we come back. Plus, we'll take a look at how this class stacks up overall against other SEC classes in terms of at this stage in the recruiting process. We're talking December in the early period. You've still got 2 more months to get guys in for February. So we'll discuss all that next on the Sports Source Kickoff. Come on back.
Southeast Termite and Pest Control can help protect your home from animals, trapping and relocating wildlife, fixing the damage they cause, and preventing them from invading your home in the first place. Call Southeast Termite and Pest Control and ask about our many services.
The Lodge at 5 Oaks, conveniently located within walking distance to some of the area's best attractions, restaurants, and shops. Call now for special rates throughout the week or visit thelodge@5oaks.com to plan your next getaway today.
Just 60 miles from Knoxville, adventure meets sanctuary at the historic Topoco Lodge, featuring the Topoco Tavern with comfortable seating inside or riverside for lunch and dinner, expanded patio dining, private rooms for events, drinks on the observation deck, and at our multiple bars. Try the Carolina Mountain Trout, a Black Angus choice ribeye, or build your own hand-tossed pizza. Experience the Topoco Tavern at the historic Topoco Lodge.
When it comes to your home, no one provides better security and audio-video systems than Safety Systems. Control everything using your tablet or smartphone, whether it's a hidden TV or the temperature in your home. Lighting, doors that open and close, lock and unlock, cameras that allow you to watch your home from wherever you may be, all at the touch of a button. Trust Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in security and audio-video systems.
Under Tennessee law, you're entitled to money damages for injuries caused by the negligence of others. How much money often depends on the diligence, skill, and experience of your attorney. A Knoxville law firm has been helping injured people for more than 30 years.
At Bill Hudson Associates, we've collected millions of dollars from insurance companies that didn't want to treat people fairly. Have you been hurt in a car wreck? Are you being treated fairly? Call us and find out.
Experience you can trust.
Did you know English Mountain Spring Water has been named the world's best tasting water? That a French competition declared it a gourmet water? Did you know English Mountain Spring Water is bottled in Dandridge? And it's available for commercial and residential water service across East Tennessee. Clear, pure water with no aftertaste. From an East Tennessee source and a local company providing unmatched service. English Mountain Spring Water.
Southeast Termite and Pest Control is locally owned, locally operated, handling thousands of commercial and residential jobs all across East Tennessee. Protect your home with a free inspection and estimate from Southeast Termite and Pest Control.
All right, and welcome back into the Sports Source Kickoff. This segment brought to you by Bill Hotz and Associates. Car accidents are serious business, folks. If you're injured in an accident by a careless driver, you need serious, proven, professional attorneys to help you recoup the wages you might lose from the time out from work, to help you recover the money spent on medical bills. Call the team that I would call if I were in that kind of situation, Bill Hotz and Associates. All right, want to remind you that we have our regular show on Sunday, tomorrow at 11 a.m. on WATE6. You can flip over there. It's going to be a live preview leading up to the Gonzaga game. We will have Mark Pankratz, Mike Strange, and VFL Isaiah Victor. We'll also be talking about the offensive coordinator search in football with Josh Ward, with VFL's Brian Randolph and Mike Stoll. Fun show tomorrow at 11 a.m. All right, let's go back to the big board. Guys, we're going to do this quickly. So about 30 seconds on each of these guys. Unfortunately, most of these look like they're in the long shot category. We're going to start with maybe the longest long shot just to not even put them on the board.
Yeah, Talia Tagovailoa, he is Tua's younger brother. And Tua Tagovailoa, I'd say the hope was that he would not have a very good season at Alabama. Maybe there would be some split with the family in Alabama. And as you've seen, he had a really good season. So this would just be an incredible long shot and very unrealistic right now, I'd say, Ryan, for Tennessee to land.
I would say, just because it doesn't look like he's going to visit. Now, he's been to Tennessee 3 times this year. Maybe they have him on campus on a surprise visit this weekend, but unless that changed and he got on campus this weekend, I don't see it.
Okay, so he's the longest long shot we had, and he's not even on. We're not even worried about the board.
Yeah.
Okay, next, let's be quick here. We've got Keontae Shad.
Shad. But yeah, this is another junior college defensive lineman. He's a Wisconsin native who's been committed to Minnesota for a while. Tennessee's offered him recently. They haven't gotten a locked-in visit yet. Tennessee and Oklahoma are battling for his final visit as of right now. He's at Minnesota this weekend on his official visit there. Do they lock things down? There's a couple things maybe working against Tennessee. But if you're looking for a dark horse who maybe slides into this good category, I will put him in the good category for now, just because Tennessee does still need help. They still might get that last visit, and if they do, all bets are off. So I'll maybe put him here toward the bottom of the good shots list.
But just go ahead and put him in long shot. I mean, if it's that low a good shot, we can put him in the.
It's okay.
I mean, it's up to you. Are the other two going in the long shot?
The other 2 are going in the long shot category. So
there you go. All right.
So we're
put
being
him nice.
You're
so
trying
to be positive. Okay.
We'll see if Tennessee pushes that hard next week, but if they do, they still could get that last visit, and he becomes more realistic.
All right, I'll shut up and let you guys be quick here. About 30 seconds, Josh. What do we got?
Yep, teammate of Owen Papo and Wanya Morris, but more similar to Owen Papo. Kenyatta Watson, very talented cornerback. He's been committed to Texas. He's kind of bounced around through the recruiting process. Tennessee has done a really good job of keeping him interested. But to this point, he has looked like he wants to shut it down. Tennessee will continue to push, but it's unlikely to be successful. He's very likely to stick with Texas.
Okay, you agree?
I agree. Still has the in-home visit with Jeremy Pruitt, just like Owen Papo does. So maybe Tennessee changes his mind and gets him to visit. But if he doesn't visit next weekend, not looking like he's going to flip from Texas.
And the last name up there, you had me right in.
Yes. So this is one that's I'm putting it in the realm of possibility because Tennessee hasn't given up on him. He's always been kind of open to Tennessee. I don't think it's likely to happen, but an in-state defensive end that they've still been after, Joseph Anderson. We'll put him in the long shots category, but Tennessee's continued to visit with him on the road. I think if there's an in-state surprise for Tennessee, him and Bill Norton, both defensive ends from in-state. They've got a shot at both of those guys, and Anderson may be the more realistic one at the moment, but that could always change.
Okay, so there we got the full list. Josh, let me get you to step a little bit. There we go, so people can see that at home. It's probably not what people wanted to see. They probably wanted to see a little more good shots in there than long shots.
And that's true. And you got to remember, with the 2 signing periods, that changes things. A lot of guys that Tennessee's in on will wait until February to sign. Darnell Wright, the 5-star offensive tackle. A lot of important guys still on the board that we expect not to sign this month, so that makes this board look a little bit different. And these still aren't all the names who are signing in December that are possibilities. These are some of the main ones.
Josh, gave you about 30 seconds here. Where does Tennessee stack up? If you look at this list, if they get those 3 added to the rest, how do they look poised for the last 6 weeks running into February?
Well, Tennessee can still set up very nicely. If you get these two guys, Eric Gray and Tresman Marshall, I think that's a nice finish to the early signing period. They'd be disappointed to miss out on all of these guys if that's how it plays out. But Darnell Wright, I'd say maybe is the #1 player overall on the board on the offensive line. Very important position. You can land him in February.
Ryan Callahan, Josh Ward, great job. I appreciate it. That's a lot of stuff in one show. Thank you for watching all year long. We'll see you tomorrow on WATE 6. Thanks to Fox 43.
This has been a presentation of Fox 43 Sports.